بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. The reason, first I apologize. Firstly, all praise and thanks are due to Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each and every favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the greatest favor of all, for making us the carriers of His kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We send our peace and salutations upon the best of creation, the beloved of Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal, and our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The reason I'm just pausing or waiting a couple of minutes, one of the brothers that are leaving next week Sunday inshallah, he just asked me, he just got home a couple of minutes ago, and I should give him a few minutes inshallah, and so for that inshallah we will just wait another minute or two. We're already late. So this is the actual starting time of the class at 2:03. So we'll give him another minute or two. So we're supposed to complete the Hajj. But while we're waiting for Butafaiz, I think we can we can mention the Sunan of Hajj. And the very first Sunnah that we want to make mention of, obviously we won't be covering all of the Sunan, but some of the most important Sunan of Hajj that was taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We will mention some of them. The very first one is Awwalan Sunan al-Ihram. What are the Sunnah of Ihram? And here they mention that the very first Sunnah of Ihram, al-Ikhtisal qabla al-Ihram, to make ghusl, to take a wash before entering into the state of Ihram. If one, however, are unable to wash before donning the Ihram, then it is Sunnah to make tayammum. And everything that are connected to purifying oneself, meaning the cutting of the nails, removing any unwanted pubic hairs, etc. And the second one is at-talaffuz bin niyyah, to make an actual niyyah orally, saying it orally, and immediately after that to engage in the talbiyah. And we all know what is the talbiyah. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك له. And then they mention here that the males should raise their voices قائما وقاعدا وماشيا, and they should recite the labbaik whether they are walking, whether they are standing, sitting or walking. Why? Because of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where he mentions آتاني جبريل فأمرني أن آمر أصحابي أن يرفعوا أصواتهم بالتلبية, where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that Jibreel came to him and he said that I must order my companions that they should raise their voices when making the talbiyah, and they should continue doing so until إلى رمي جمرة العقبة, until they throw Aqaba صباح يوم النحر, until the morning of the Barang Haji, Barang Mubarak. And then also ويستقبل القبلة عند الإحرام ويقول, and also to face the direction of the Qibla when donning one's Ihram. And then one should say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma ahrim laka sha'ri wa bashari wa lahmi wa dami. Oh Allah, I am donning my ihram and I am making sacred my hair, my skin, my flesh, wa dami, and also my blood. As for the woman, فَيُسَنُّ لَهَا خَفْضَ صَوْتِهَا فِي التَّلْبِيَةِ بِحَيْثُ تَسْمَعُ نَفْسَهَا. As for the female, they make the talbiyah, they say the labbaik Allahumma labbaik loud enough where only they can hear themselves. So now we have already covered two of the sunan. The third sunan, al-ibti'ad an ahadith ad-dunya wa mulhiyatuha al-mubaha fadlan عن المكروه والمحرمة ما أمكن ذلك. The third one is to stay away and to cut oneself off completely from any worldly talks. Even worldly talks that are usually at other times permissible. Things that you can usually speak of, at this time when going into the state of ihram, at this time it is best to cut oneself off completely from the dunya. The second one is how to enter Makkah. The sunan of entering Makkah, it is first to come, and this is, we basically do this coming from South Africa. We enter Makkah before going to Arafah. But this is the Sunnah method. If one is not from South Africa and one is a resident somewhere in Saudi, it is best first to enter Makkah, and from there we head off to Arafah. And then number two, أن يغتسل لدخول مكة عند بئر ذي طوى وهي بئر معروفة. It is also a sunnah when one performs this wash before going there, it is to take a bath at a place called the well of Tuwa, and it is a very well-known well in Makkah. كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, for what reason? رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يغتسل بمائها دائما إذا دخل مكة. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he would enter Makkah, he would take a bath, he would wash at this place. And then number three is ayyadkhula Makkah min thaniya kada. There is a pathway in Makkah called kada, and it is a sunnah to enter Makkah. It is on the bi'a'la Makkah, on the higher grounds of Makkah. And then number four, ayyattajiu fawra wusuli Makkah ila bayti قاصدا طواف القدوم, and then to immediately enter Makkah by making the طواف القدوم, وهي تحية البيت. This is greeting the بيت الحرام التي كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يحرص عليها. He always used to carry out this. And then I think this we mentioned already, أن يدخل المسجد من باب بني شيبة, to enter the haram from the door of Banu Shayba. And then فَإِذَا أَبْصَرَ الْكَعْبَةَ الْمُشَرَّفَةَ رَفَعَ يَدَيْهِ وَدَعَا بِهَذَا الدُّعَاء. And then when one sees the Kaaba for the first time, or whenever we see the Kaaba, رَفَعَ يَدَيْهِ, to raise one's hands, وَدَعَا بِهَذَا الدُّعَاء, and then to make this dua, اللهم زد هذا البيت تشريفا وتعظيما وتكريما ومهابة وزد من شرفه وعظمه ممن حجه أو اعتمره تشريفا وتعظيما وتكريما وبرا اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام فحينا ربنا بالسلام. Now they mention the sunan of tawaf. علمت فيما مضى واجبات الطواف وشروط صحة أما سنن فتلخص فيما يلي. Okay, now they're going to mention, I think we are actually gave enough time already. We should start with the Hajj, otherwise we're not going to complete it. But give him until 5 too, inshallah, 3 more minutes. Because I don't want him to miss, because he's one of the Hujjahs that are leaving, and it is only fair maybe that we give him, and he obviously have a very, and I think he's one of the Hujjahs that are leaving first. He's leaving next week Sunday, inshallah. To make tawaf, walking, whether you are a male or a female. Except if there is a hindrance, then you can also make tawaf rakiban. Now here we have mentioned, and I've mentioned in one of the previous classes, that there are very nice electrical motorcycles, if you can call it that. It is basically this, like a type of a golf cart, but it has like a steering wheel with 2 levers, or 1 lever, I think. It's an electrical cart. You just push it forward, and if you push it back, you reverse. So you get on, you start from Safa to Marwa, exactly the same way. There is even one where if you and your spouse are both unable, then there's one that operates the cart himself. He stands at the back on the vehicle, and you and your spouse, or if you, by yourself, you sit on there, and he does it everything for you, the tawaf, the sa'i, everything. That is if one is unable. أي يستلم الحجر الأسود أول طوافه ويتقبله ويضع جنبيه عليه. It is also sunnah that when one starts off your tawaf, to make istilam, to touch the Hajar al-Aswad, and to kiss it if one are able, وَيَضَعُ جَنْبَيْهِ عَلَيْهِ, and also to put one's forehead in. However, if one is unable because of the volume of people, it is better. If not, if it's going to cause you any harm, or you yourself are going to cause any harm to someone else, it is better not to do that. And then the third is أن يكرر الاستلام وتقبيل الحجر الأسود عند كل شوط من طوافه. It is also a great sunnah that one makes istilam, like they call it in Cape Town, the flying kiss. One makes Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and then you kiss your hand at the start of every tawaf. And then number 4, أن يقول في أول توافه, to say at the beginning of every tawaf, بسم الله والله أكبر اللهم إيمانا بك وتصديقا بكتابك ووفاء بعهدك واتباع لسنة نبيك محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام. To say that at the start of every tawaf. First one is, I'm going very quickly through this, there's much more to it, but I'm just mentioning it as it comes in order. And then the first one is to make ramal in the first 3 ashwat. Ashwat is the plural, shout, singular, to make ramal for the males only for the first 3 rounds of the tawaf. And then the last one is that one performs 2 rak'ahs after the tawaf, ركعتين خلف مقام إبراهيم يقرأ في الأولى بقل يا أيها الكافرون وفي الثانية بقل هو الله أحد. And to recite, when we perform the 2 rak'ahs behind the maqam Ibrahim, to recite in the first rak'ah قل يا أيها الكافرون, and in the second rak'ah to recite قل هو الله أحد. Okay, we're going to start. We can't wait anymore. So we find ourselves now going for Hajj. This is the moment that counts in one's life. This is the moment that we've worked for all our life. This is the moment that counts. The next couple of days, those are the most important days in the life of a Muslim. And we completed the Umrah completely last week, Alhamdulillah. So now we're gonna proceed from Makkah. The Sunnah, okay, to mention first, there are 5 days of Hajj. There are 5 days of Hajj, starting from the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. So on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, that is called Yawm al-Tarwiyah. The second day, the most important of all days, that is Yawm Arafah. Yawm Arafah, on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, we move to Arafah. And then on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, that is Labarang Mubarak. Right, that is Labarang Haji. And then where we now? The 11th day, Yawm al-Qarr. And then the 12th day is Yawm al-Nafr al-Awwal. And then the 13th day, the last day, is Yawm al-Nafr al-Thani. So what happens now is, how does one leave? The Sunnah method of leaving is after the sun has risen on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. After the sun has risen on a mountain that is called mountain called now? Okay. So after Fajr, I don't know now what is the mountain's name. So once the sun has risen on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, so now we're at our hotels, so the buses will come and collect us. And now we will be moving to Mina. We will obviously be in our ihram, we will be reciting the talbiyah, and we will be getting ready now for the 5 days of Hajj. So what's important to mention here is, if the agents, and I know this is being live streamed, so people are watching, I'm not bad mouthing any agent, name a fault to anyone, but if they tell you don't take toilet paper with, don't always believe them, right? Because especially in Azizia as well, packing toilet paper. I don't know, but Talib can maybe, we were there for quite some time, for 3 or 4 weeks in Azizia, and there you will have to go and look for toilet paper. It's not all the shops that stock it. And if you find toilet paper close by, it's going to be North ply. Alright, you get one ply, and then you get the full ply, the fancy toilet paper, and then you get North ply. And I'm not even exaggerating. You will use one row for one sitting. One row for one sitting. Alright? So you must buy a 10 pack or a 20 pack for a week. So if you are able and if you have place, I mean it's not very weight, it's not a lot of weight, take toilet paper along with you. Take toilet paper along with you. And then we will be leaving Makkah with our buses, and now we will be moving to Mina. The sunnah is on the 8th day, Yawm al-Tarwiyah, on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah, that one performs, although it is not obligatory, but it is a great sunnah to perform Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah, and also Fajr of the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. So on Yawm Arafah, on that day, Fajr time, we still perform our Fajr Salah at Mina. After the sun has risen, now we start making our way. This is only if one is walking on foot. If one is walking on foot, then we start making our way to Arafah. But I think for our people from South Africa, not only it is not exclusively to South Africa, but I think for many other countries as well, they move by bus. They move by bus, but the thing about the buses are that they work in a system. Whether it will be different this year, Wallahu A'lam, but how it worked with us, in order to avoid congestion, in order to avoid that, they only make a limited amount of buses available. So how does that work is, say for example, we all South Africans going from here, so they will make available 10 buses for all the South Africans. So the first bus, they come to a certain point, they pick up the Hujjaj, they move to Mina. Out of, if we're leaving from Azizia, which I think most of us or all of us should be leaving from Azizia, they move to Mina, right? So yes, say for example, we have 5 pickup points. 1 year, 1 day, 1 day, 1 day. So 5 buses at a time go. They load their buses full and they move to Mina. At that time when they move, and say there's only 5 buses, when what happens to the rest of the people? You wait there. They drop off their people. Mina is about, it's not far, I think we walked. Ons geloop na uit Azizia uit Mina toe is about 3 kilometers. It is 3 kilometers plus minus, taqriban, plus minus 3 kilometers. You can walk if you like. And then the rest of the people wait, and then that 5 buses, they drop that people, and then they send the buses back. And then they come pitch a second load, etc., until everybody has reached Mina. After we have reached Mina, we performed, we stay at Mina. Take with everything you need. It is very difficult. It is very difficult if you forgot something to move. Take your time and plan. Take a book and write down whatever you're going to need. Whether you want to take that folding musla for your back support, whether you want to take a pillow, whether you want, whatever you need to take, make a list and tell yourself, I'm going to take all this stuff with me. Because once you are at Mina, now you will have to leave from Mina Go back to the hotel on your own. On your own. Unless you're going to get a good friend that will say, okay, gaan maar saam met jou walk, or I'll take a taxi with you. Then you have to go back to the hotel, get your room key there, fetch whatever you need, and make your way back to Mina. So the best thing is, think about it. You have all the time. And here also as a word of advice, we're going to spend quite a lot of time in Azizia. And Azizia is about plus minus 5 to 7 kilometers out of Makkah. Approximately, plus minus 5 to 7 kilometers. Some people, they go every day to the Haram. Every day. Because you're going to be there for quite some time. Those that are living for 6 weeks, I think you spend about 3 weeks in Azizia. So, yes, Brother Faiz. So, Sinshi, mashallah, he still made it in time. Right? So, we're going to be spending plus minus 3 weeks in Azizia. 3 weeks in Azizia is a long time. Because so that means now, I'm going to be 3 weeks away from the Haram. And every salah performed in the Haram is equivalent to 100,000 salawat in any other masjid. 100,000 times better than any other masjid. So who does not want to salah in the Haram? So what the people do is, some people, they travel by taxi. They travel by taxi. Other people, they tend to walk. Those that are fit. I know of a couple. I won't say they are old. Laat vir my weggeloop. In die tawaf, in die sa'i, op ziyaras, op alles. Jou skoonpa. Die mense is lief vir loop, ja Allah, ek weet nie waar kry hulle die energy nie, maar op die Talib en die Hafsa, die mense is gevaarlik lief vir loop. Right? So the point we're making is, you can decide if you want to walk out of Azizia to the Haram and do some shopping along the way. You can do that. If not, you just stand outside your hotel and you stop a taxi. Taxis are usually cheap. It's cheap out of Azizia to Makkah and from Makkah to Azizia. But you believe you me, if you're paying 10 riyal or 5 riyal per person 2-3 weeks before Hajj, try that Hajj time. Hajj time, make sure you have between 100 and 200 riyal for the taxi. That same taxi that you paid 5 riyal, you will never get a taxi for under 50 riyal. That same distance, that same driver that you drove with, hulle is dieselfde soos ons mense. They know different. They inflate the taxi drivers. That's their busy time. And believe you me, especially at Hajj time, you are tired. You are dirty. You want to come out of your ihram. You have finished your tawaful ifadah. You want to come to your hotel. You just see duisende en duisende en duisende mense. En duisende en duisende, duisende taxis. But believe you me, you won't get, I promise you, the one that gets a taxi under 50 riyal to Azizia, die man moet regtig special wees. So you kan maar die beste Arabic praat, you can know the Makkah halfway, show me you get a taxi for under 50 riyal. If you're lucky, you will pay 100 riyal. Per person. Per person, if you are 5 people. Usually, that other 3 weeks before Hajj, ons dan betaal 5 riyal 'n kop. As nie meer nou die tyd nie, as Hajj tyd. They know the people want to get to the hotels. They know the people want to get out of the haram. The people you pay, the husband will maybe try and haggle a bit. Dat hy maar gaan, die vrou sal jy net so sê, hallo, betaal. Betaal, ons klim in, laat ons gaan. Moenie kom mal speel van, jy gaan haggle, jy steen bargain nie. Klim in, betaal net die man, laat ons gaan. Because we must remember, we spent now how many days at Mina, Arafah, Muzdalifah. So it's just as advice. As advice, when we're going, make sure you take money with you. Don't listen to people that tell you that you won't need any money. You're going to need money. So now Butafa is also Mina, right on the 8th day of Dhul Hijjah, which is called Yawm Tarwiyah. We are there, we Salah, our Dhuhr, our Asr, our Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr of the next day. Of the day of Arafah, the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, that Fajr, we also still Salah there. Then we're moving now to Arafah. After We must make sure we're definitely going to be traveling with groups. Nobody's going on their own. So the group will tell us, listen here people, please be in the foyer at so and so a time. The buses are fetching us and then they're going to take us to Arafah. And usually they leave. The Sunnah method, if we want to be as close to the Sunnah as possible, is to be at Zawal time at Masjidun Namra. Masjidun Namra, it is at Arafah. Half of that masjid or a portion of that masjid falls within Arafah and the other part is outside of Arafah. It is one massive masjid. A part of it is within the boundaries of Arafah and another part of the masjid is out of the boundaries of Arafah. So we get there and then the Imam will deliver. He will deliver on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah after Zawal. People say Zawal is the time of the zenith. That's not called Zawal. The time when the sun reaches its zenith, its highest point, that period is called Istiwa. When the sun has risen and it has reached its zenith, that time it's called Istiwa. Zawal means when the sun moves slightly from its highest point, that is Zawal. Right? Just before Dhuhr. Then the Imam, you will give 2 khutbahs. You will give 2 khutbahs. Don't wait for the English khutbah. There is no English khutbah. Alright? The Imam is going to give 2 khutbahs in Arabic. We try, if we are able, we go and attend. We go there. If not, don't put yourself in difficulty. Don't put yourself in difficulty because you don't know where your camp is in Arafah. You don't know where your tents are. You don't know anything about Arafah. And Arafah is big. Arafah is extremely big. The chance of you walking from the masjid to your camp, it's very slim. It's very slim. But there's no need to fear. Anywhere within the boundaries of Arafah, that's all that counts. That is all that counts. But if we are able to go there, listen to the 2 khutbahs, and then the Imam will salah, he will make jam salah. You will make Asr, you will make Dhuhr and Asr Jam'an. You will perform together. For us coming from Makkah, we can't salah that salah with him. Jam. We have to make one. We can join him if he's making Jama'ah. We join him, and when he make Taslim, we must book. When the Imam say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah after the first 2 rak'ah, that was now for his Dhuhr. He's going to shorten both salah. If he say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, the same like when we come late for a salah, we must book. We go up and we complete the other 2, right? In order to get that reward of Jam Salah. Now we're heading to our tents. Now, beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, like we said, this is the day that counts. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Al-Hajjul Arafah. Hajj is Arafah. Here we cannot afford to waste 1 minute of our time. Not a single minute. Even if you do nothing on Arafah, even if you just sit on Arafah until you depart to Muzdalifah, even if you just sit there and don't say a word, your Hajj is still 100% correct. But let us not have that attitude. Let us supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us make tasbih. Let us make tahleel. Let us read Quran. Let us make dhikr. Whatever we can do of good, let us do that. What is the best thing to do? It is to go to Jabal Rahmah. What is Jabal Rahmah? The place where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the final sermon. Go there. Majority of the people, they rush to the top to sit on Jabal Rahmah. The sunnah is to stand at the bottom by the stones of Jabal Rahmah. Not to be on top of Jabal Rahmah. The sunnah is to be at the bottom by the boulders and the stones at the bottom of that mountain. It's not a mountain, it's like a hillock. To be at the bottom, that's the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be at the bottom of Jabal Rahmah. So the 8th day is gone. The 8th day is gone. We're now in the 9th day, Yawm Arafah. We supplicate there, whether we do it in congregation, whether we do it alone. It doesn't matter as long as we are engaged in A'mal. Now remember one thing about this trip, everyone will not be your best friend. Everyone will not be your best friend. Especially for the brothers that are sharing rooms. And this is always a problem. And that's why I always advise people, if you are able to, don't share. Don't share, especially as je klats. Right? If you have a platenkop, don't share. If you are by the means, believe you me, it is much better to share a room with your wife. It is much better to share with 3 or 4 other people. Wallahi, one man loves aircon. And this is the most common argument. Here's the aircon, alright? Here's the aircon. Right below the aircon, here's one bed. This is for people sharing. The other bed is there. Third bed is there. The other bed is here. This bed and that bed, and maybe, no, that bed will be included with this bed. They get no aircon. To them, it is a joy. So die boete wat hier slaap en daar slaap directly onder die aircon, they don't want the aircon on. Nou wat maak hulle? Hulle wag, die boete wil die aircon aan nie. Right? So hy is ouer as my. Now I must show some respect. Al wag hy tot hy boete toilet toe gaan. As het hy die aircon af. Hy gaan lê net weer op sy kooi. Nou kom die boete uit die toilet uit. Weet hy nou weer die aircon af gesit? And that's how things go. Right? Which is fine. Everybody is different. Everyone is different. Some can take heat, some can't take heat. Some like aircon, some don't like aircon. There will always be differences. There will always be. Don't talk if there's another empty bed. Wie se keuse gaan op hy kooi? My keuse was mos voor sy keuse hier man. Wie het my keuse nou weer afgegooi? These things that we laugh about and joke about, but that's things that happen. It's a reality, it happens. And we need to be warned about it. So, inshallah, if we are able to, in Azizia, in Makkah, in Medina, try not to bunk. It's different if I'm not by the means. And that's the only way. Also, it's also worth mentioning here, people can be very loving. I saw guys that share a room and you can't separate them on this entire journey. And up till today, you will find them elke weekend hulle braai samen en hulle meet samen by Spur and they eat a meal, whatever. They become very close. But there are the dangers of, I might get somebody, but they buy me first. At Arafah, whoever offends you, whoever, something just came to mind now, on Mina, a very close friend of mine, he didn't have a place to sleep, but I kept him a place, just below my feet, and I kept him, it's like, so a matras, man, it's about so dik. That's without exaggeration, man, matras is so dik. And then I kept him a mattress and I kept him a pillow, or I kept him 2 pillows. And he lay there. But it was in between 2 well-built guys. And every day he would remind me, up until today he would still tell me, my bro, wanneer as ek slaap, dan draai hy een ou na, hy moes in die haram, dan draai hy ou na met sy soeterige liggaam in my gesig, man. Hy sê, dan move ek oppere, dan skop jy my weer in my kop. As ek die ander way move, die bras sorg weer klipat. Right? So that's things that happen. That is beyond us. That is beyond us. That we're going to experience. But that is memories. That's things that stay with us for the rest of our life. And that's what makes this journey special. It is something to enjoy and something that you laugh when you speak about it again. And how did we get there? Yes, we're on Arafah. And like we've mentioned in the very first class, very important, always get a friend that you remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially here, you will see that friend's value. If you had that friend that was all about jokes, maak heel dag jokes, vertel heel dag stories, you will do, the chances of him doing it on Arafah is great. I'm not saying you will do it, but the chances of that happening is great. That friend of yours that is always busy with tilawat of Quran, always busy with dhikr, is always speaking good, always telling story of Sahaba, always making dhikr, making salawat on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you will do exactly the same thing. So what happens here? Al-mar'u ala dini khalilihi fandur may yukhalil. Aw kama qala alayhi salatu wa salam, he said, a person will always be on the deen of his friend. Right? As my friend 'n klomp vissermanne is, dan wil ek ook vis vang. Is it so or not? If my friends, and I've got friends that catch fish, but I'm not really into this fish business. But I went with a couple of times. Alhamdulillah, it's very nice. Gaat ik weer van die. It's very nice. I enjoy it, but for me personally, I'll do it, yeah, but I won't give all my time for fishing. Uh, Apologies to the first man. But what I'm saying is, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, a person will be on the deen of his friend. And then he said, Fandur may yukhalil. He warned us, be careful who you take as a friend. Be careful who you befriend. If I am sitting or I am laying next to a guy, whenever on Arafah, whenever I looked at him, I see the man sit in the Quran. I said, and Wallahi al-Azim, in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this very guy that I was speaking of now, on Arafah, he would sit with his book, he would sit like this. He would sit like this. And he's an extremely good guy, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant him all khair and barakah, and a good wife. He would sit like this. The Quran fall out of his hand, but he wouldn't put his Quran down. Anybody could see this guy he finished himself. He finished himself. His Quran would continuously fall out of his hand. And then he would just do this, and he pick it up, and then he kept on reading. Now, you sitting next to a guy like this, what does that make you want to do? Gaat ek nou lê hierso? Oh, then I also, whether it is on my phone, or whatever I have with me, I also start reading Quran. Other one on this side of you, he's always making dhikr. You think, as ek nou, imagine if I have 4 friends like that. This one is making dhikr, that one is making salawat on Rasulullah, this one is reading Quran, that one is making khadat. Am I going to be laying there? Oh, I want to do what they are doing. They are doing it for a reason, so I join them. I do what they do. It is important to have a good travel buddy, especially for those 5 days. Especially for those 5 days. Then we stay, we go to Jabal Rahmah. If our camp is close to Jabal Rahmah, if we can make it till there, we won't have a good sleep. We won't have a good wash. We won't have the best of meals. I'm not saying the meals is bad. It's good. You eat your duck on the Chelsea buns. We used to call it a starter pack. They bring it, you get in there, a big Chelsea bun, and then you get another English bun, and then you get another. As net pastries, the yellow pastries. And then you have your tea and your coffee and your drinks. So you won't be having the best of meals for those 5 days. Not the best of meals. At night is different. On Mina at night, you get a nice hot meal. But I'm talking like for breakfast and lunch, you will get something. So you will not, the point we're making is, you will not be getting the best of food. You will not be having the comfort of your toilet at home. Alright? We said you are going to be surrounded by flat pans. Alright? Eastern toilets. Nothing is comfortable. Alhamdulillah, I won't say it's wrong of me to say it is uncomfortable. But what I'm saying, it is not the luxury of your 5-star hotel. It is not that. You are in a garb, you are wearing clothing for the males that you are not used to. You are not used to this. Net 'n lappie onder en 'n lappie bo. Ek is nie gewoond aan daai nie. You are not in the best of clothing. You are not having the best of meals. You will be tired. If your wife is tired and she tell you, en ek ken manne wat gaan, wat baie hard is met hulle vrou, en ek maak dua, Allah change their heart, especially on this trip, to change their attitude towards their wives. Right? Not only for him, for each and every person. Let us treat our wives like they're supposed to be treated. Especially on this journey. This journey I promise you, you could have having your what means called I know, Witterbrood? Honeymoon. Your honeymoon, you could have stood on the Eiffel Tower. There's nothing more romantic than this trip. So don't spoil that by shouting at the woman and wil jy nie saam met my gaan Jabal Rahmah toe nie? Wie sê ek verstaan nie vir jou nie? If she say, Bokkie, dis moeg. Jy gaan dit nie maak nie. Galas, end of story. Is it okay if I go? Don't drag the woman, die vrou val af van die pad hier saam met jou. No, that is not right. If she say, listen here, I am tired. I barely had an eye closed last night. Because you're sleeping in a tent with 30, 40, 50 people. Almal poepie saggie. As jy almal se poep wat lekker rykie. Right? You will be share, you will experience this, you will share this. Some people, they don't sleep well outside of a bed. On a floor, especially, I have a back problem, or I have a neck problem, etc. You will experience this, you won't sleep. You'll be out of sleep. And you think, if you are unable, you don't go. Stay there where you are. You stay. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he stood on Arafah and he said, Ha huna Arafah, meaning this entire plain is Arafah. This entire plain is Arafah. So wherever you find yourself on Arafah, if you find yourself there, you remain there. If you are able to, you move towards Jabal Rahmah. And then the main time, the wukuf, what they call wukuf bi Arafah. Right? Then either we will be making, is it Asr? Joh, en ons is nou eerst op Arafah. Okay, we do all our a'mal. Now we're going to rush a bit. We do all our a'mal at Arafah, right? We finish there after Maghrib. Now we're going to be moving to Muzdalifah. Again in a group. Buses will come. They will take the people. If we want to walk, we can walk. It's not far. I think it's about 3 miles. Muzdalifah is 3 miles from Arafah. What is 3 miles? So 5 kilometers. 3 miles, 5 kilometers, plus minus. Yeah, so say 5 kilometers, right? We go to Muzdalifah. At Muzdalifah, there is no tents. No tents, no mattresses, nothing. You're going there, you're going to spend the night there with nothing. So I was one of that people. Where are you going with this stuff? Skelly vrouw. Why? Because I'm lazy to carry the bag. Right in your hotel, I throw out this. Waar gaan ze met die blauwe pillow? Waar gaan ze met die? Los die goed as jy. Wie gaan die goed dra? Moet ek het dra? Right, los hy goed dra. When you come on Muzdalifah, then you will kiss your feet. There is absolutely nothing at Muzdalifah. The bus stop, and they tell you, right, South Africa, hier's julle. You think, wat? Hier, langs aan die brug, onder die brug, wherever you find place, you sleep there. You're going to spend your night there at Muzdalifah. You're going to collect your pebbles. Nee, 5 kilometers is van BP Garage tot Bayview. Nee, dat is 2,5 kilometers maar. Van hier af. Dat is je famous. No, but what I'm saying is some people do the walking Hajj. Some people do the walking Hajj. But believe you me, if you do that walk in a group, it won't feel like from here to Rocklands. People are making dhikr and the people are making talbiyah, etc., and they're moving. Before you know it, then you say, hey, you should see. But there is guaranteed the buses will collect you and take you to Muzdalifah. Again, a reminder, if you have a straw mats with a blow-up pillow, vat het saam. You're going to lay on the floor. I don't want to speak about the ugliness that we witness. We witness people scaling over mats. There's mats all over. Like amper soos die carpet, but roll-up mats. But they're scattered all over. So if you want, you must run very far to go and fetch. I ran for one. And I got one. Yeah, I can run. Ek kan haloop. Ek het gehaloop vir 'n mat. Ek was een van die eerste man om 'n mat te kry. When the other people came later, so I heard people swearing each other. And I'm not speaking about net sulke knop. Jy nou net gekom van Arafah. Allah just cleaned your slate now, wallahi al-azim. And people were swearing each other over a mat. Because if you don't have that mat, jy gaan lê op die gravel. You're going to lay on the gravel. So if your wife say, Bokkie, vat die 2 story matsie saam, met die bloue pillow, bismillah, pak het in. We won't be sorry. Then we spend the night at Muzdalifah. Alright? At Muzdalifah, there we're going to collect our pebbles. The pebbles must be the size of a chickpea. We all know what's a chickpea? We know what's a chickpea? Or the size of a date pit. Moenie sulke klippe op. Hoe gaan 'n mens 7 klippe soos die dra? Ons vat 3 extra klippe, 10 klippe. You take pebbles. We take pebbles, don't take 7, just in case one get lost or 2 get lost, we have spare, we take 10 pebbles at Muzdalifah. If you want to take more, Bismillah, what people usually do is they tap some water into a bottle, a 500 Coke bottle or into a water bottle, and they throw some water in there, and then they throw your stones. It's also sunnah to clean the pebbles. As little pebbles, small pebbles, we clean it, and they, in the Shafi'i madhab, you are permitted to spend only a moment on Muzdalifah. So vir die manne wat nie wil slaap op die grond nie, you wait till 12:05. I'm not encouraging this. I'm not saying we must go away from the sunnah of Rasulullah. I must make mention, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stayed until Fajr the next day. Yawmul Nahr, he stayed there until Labarang Mubarak, Fajr of that morning, to stay there. In the Shafi'i madhab, however, after midnight, if you spend a moment on Muzdalifah, then you can leave. Whether you're going to get a bus or not, that's another question. Now, Mina is 3 kilometers from Muzdalifah. That is, I promise, that is not a long walk. It is not a long walk. So usually, it is not one person. Usually like 30, 40, 50 people that does not want to stay until Fajr. They don't want to stay at Muzdalifah until Fajr. So what do they do now is, they move immediately after midnight. 10, 15, 20 minutes after midnight, then they start packing and then they move. Because there's no buses, they walk to Mina. Now we come at Mina, then we want to go and throw Aqaba. We're only going to go throw Aqaba. So we were at Mina. From Mina, we went to Arafah. From Arafah to Muzdalifah. We done at Muzdalifah. We did our a'mal there. We rested there, or we did nothing there. We just collected our pebbles. Back to Mina. And now at Mina, from here, we're going to be moving now to go and pelt Aqaba. There will be a matawf with, there will be spiritual leaders with, that will guide us through this. Now this is important to mention. If you are in Ihram for Hajj, you only need to do 2 things to come out of Ihram. What the people here in Cape Town call klein verlossing. Klein verlossing. And take note of this, it's very important. There are 3 things. There are 3 things for Hajj. Alright? It is Wukuf bi Arafah. Okay, that we're done with Arafah, we're done with Muzdalifah. Pelting Aqaba, shortening of the hair, and Tawaful Ifadah. There's 3 things now that we need to do to get out of Ihram. Now we know there's something called a klein verlossing. If we do 2 of any of that 3 things, then you are out of Ihram. Meaning you can remove that clothing, you can remove the clothing, and everything that was haram inside of Ihram becomes halal now, except Jima. Everything you can that was haram while you were in Ihram becomes halal. The only thing that you cannot do is to have conjugal relations with your spouse. But everything else, if you do 2 of the 3 things. So if I throw Aqaba and I shorten my hair, then I can go back to my hotel in Azizia. I can go back to my hotel. I can go and shower. I can change my clothing. I can do whatever I like, and I can stay there. I can stay there, rest well. After Fajr, I can tell my wife, kom ons gaan nou Ifadah. We're now going to go make Tawaful Ifadah. Right? So just remember that we need to do 2 of the 3 things to come out of Ihram. There's 3. Tawaful Ifadah, stoning of Aqaba, and shortening of the hair or shaving of the head. If we do 2 of that 3, then you come out of. So if you do, it is on your way coming from Mina, you will definitely go pelt Aqaba. After you have completed pelting Aqaba, now you have a choice. I'm going to go do my Ifadah, or I'm going to shorten my hair. If there is a need, my spouse becomes sick. It is taxing, believe you me, it is taxing. You won't find a taxi from Mina to Makkah. After you have pelted Aqaba, it is extremely difficult to find a taxi. It is extremely difficult. You are most likely going to have to walk to Makkah from Mina. And it's quite a distance. If not, if you do find a taxi, there's a lot of private taxis as well. Believe you me, you're going to pay your arm and a leg. You're going to pay your arm and a leg for a taxi to Makkah. So if you are not up for that, you tell yourself, okay, then I'm going to pelt Aqaba and I'm going to shorten my hair and then I'm going back to the hotel to Azizia. And then what you do, you have a nice bath, you have a good rest. Tomorrow morning, gaan ek af haram toe for Fajr, you go for Fajr, and then you perform your Ifadah. After that, Ifadah, you can do, Ifadah remains, the window period for Ifadah remains for the rest of your life. It remains for the rest of your life. There's no time period to do Ifadah. The time period for Ifadah is the rest of your life. So there is no rush for Ifadah. Do two of the three things and then you're out of Ma'in Ihram. But bear in mind, as long as you haven't done Ifadah, you are still in the state of Ihram. The moment you have, if you want to do all three in one go, and then you are completely out of Ihram. That is not what they call the klein verlossing, then we are completely out. It is Asr now, we're almost done. We're almost done, we have like 10 minutes left. Okay, I'm just going to mention it. We can make the adhan now, then we will end off on that inshallah. And it's not difficult. That was sick. So after that, it is the Ayyam Tashriq. After Labarang Mubarak, after Eid, after Yawm al-Nahr, after we have done Ifadah and whatever, we go back to the hotel, do whatever we need to do, and then we go back to Mina. We go back to Mina for the 3 days, Ayyam Tashriq. For that 3 days, although many Caetonians don't stay the 3 days, they stay 1 day. But the Sunnah, the closest to the Sunnah, I'm leaving out a lot of things. But because of time, just remember, Ayyam Tashriq, we try and stay there all 3 days. And we will pelt on each day all three Jamarat. And then basically after that, Hajj is complete. That was in a nutshell Hajj, from step 1 to the last step, in a nutshell. So inshallah we make dua and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all those that are leaving our shores, that Allah grant them a safe passage. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your a'mal inshallah. And don't forget the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Don't forget us here in Cape Town and in South Africa. Make dua for us. Make dua that Allah removes the load shedding as well inshallah.